always waiting and exciting for the evening session so that we can meet you, have a conversation with you. And I'm sure even today you're going to get amazing things out of this session, which is packed with full of knowledge and wisdom. In case you would have any questions, any doubts regarding English, you can always write in the chat box. So, straight away, your questions would be forwarded to our guest of the evening, Tutor Rohil Menon. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Amazing. So, as you know, every Sunday we come here on the platform and we talk to live experts. We get their ideas, what they feel about English language. So today's session is going to be similar to that. Whatsoever questions you have, just write in the chat box. Every fifth or sixth minute, I'll try to take the questions out and have a discussion with all of you. Firstly, tell me in the chat box if you're excited, because without seeing you excited, I would not get the kick. Yes. Oh my God. I see more than 24 people watching us. Learning Lighthouse says hi. Good evening from Pakistan. Good evening from India. Hello, Deepak. Shiva says good evening, ma'am. Good evening. Um, how can I stop overusing and but that those in the sentences? Okay, Learning Lighthouse, we've already started asking questions. I'm loving that. I'm loving that. Thank you. Yes. Good evening, Bahadur. Thank you so much for joining Dot on Time. It's amazing to see you all here. So, as I told you that we are here for the talk show, and with your support, we are on episode number 4. Since we are every day moving with new tutors, today the guest of honor is tutor Rohil Menon. To tell you a bit about him, he is somebody who has dedicated more than 30 years to uh, the field where communication is highly important. So I would not tell which field he's from. You have to guess in the chat box. But he's also a certified English language trainer and an IELTS expert. So you're going to get all the teachings, all the experiences from someone who has been teaching. He has completed more than 1,000 sessions on our platform. So, Tutor Rohil, today's the whole session is dedicated to you and your methodologies. Tell me, how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm really excited, Shruti, because, well, firstly, this is the first ever time I've come on a live show. So let's be very honest.
Oh,
I think we went through a little bit of a preliminary, round. Uh, you're making me quite comfortable, and I'm very excited to be here. Really.
okay, all right. And let me tell you a bit about my EnglishYaari learners. They're always eager and inquisitive to ask questions whenever they see a new guest. So I already see a lot of questions coming up right away for you.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
as you
ready.
all know, you're ready? Okay, thank you so much. As you all know, it's a live show where we talk about English in English and right from the expert's mouth. Because if you meet random people give you random advice, and random advice never works. So, it's better we hear straight away from somebody who's been experiencing. So, Mr. Rohil, as I know you, you've been serving in, you've worked with great organizations, you've been in corporate world. How did you develop your interest towards English language? Was it love at first sight, if I may say, or did it develop over the period?
Yes, I think I normally do pass on this a little bit of a story on how environment is so important to pick up any language, including English. And mine started with my father. He was an English literature student in a place called Chennai, which was earlier known as Madras. And this whole environment of English started with him, thanks to him, because he was a voracious reader. He spoke only English by and large at home, even though my mother tongue is, I'm from Kerala, so we hardly spoke any Malayalam at home. And
Okay.
he's the one who encouraged us to read. We used to pass on a newspaper around the dining table and read page by page. We were three brothers. And I think he sparked that interest in English from that very early age, which could have been something like 8 or 9 years old when I was at home. And I think
Okay.
this sparked that interest. And Since he was a very, very avid reader, I think there was always books at home. And who can refuse a good book, especially if it suits your age at that point of time? And I think that made a big difference. The way when you said, was it love at first sight? I don't know, but yes, close to that. Close to that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So it was your father who ignited the spark that one should have this language, and you started building it. You told me a bit about reading now. So you're talking about the age where you had really less distractions. So I'm sure reading came handy to you when there are very less things to do. You end up in a book. For example, if today government of India announces that for next 24 hours you would not have internet access and you would not be able to talk to anybody, probably people would go to library or would pick up any good book because we cannot keep ourselves without any work. But when I talk about this age and era, the era we live in, we have so many things to look up to. There are audio visuals, there are many things. How do a person develop that interest in the book or in reading? If you could tell me about that.
Yeah, it is a challenge. I have spoken to a lot of young people who I, coach or tutor, and I'm not here talking about a conventional book. Even in today's world, you have a Kindle, you have, access to digital media, even a newspaper is available digitally. Very few people buy a newspaper anymore. That is how we started, with an actual newspaper. Yes, a book is a book, but you could still get access to it online. I know a lot of people who read online, read Kindle, the other ways of, even audio podcasts where they listen to the language all the time when they're driving, when they are in the office, or when in their free time. So I wouldn't force this conventional book on them, because many of them are not used to buying a book.
True.
Circulating libraries in our time, it's probably dwindled a lot. It's still there in many cities like Bangalore, where there's interest in reading, but there are book clubs, and there's so many options. But I would still say, use a Kindle if you can afford it. Uh, Go online and listen. Go online and read good newspapers, international newspapers, Indian newspapers. You have so much to read online too. And yes, continue with it. I mean, surround yourself with English. Read as much as you can, because it develops your ability to think, put together phrases, expressions, thoughts, ideas. What can be better than reading from an author who's putting it together so well? Yes, I can talk about authors all the time, but yeah, we'll probably come to it a little later in the session. Yeah.
Truly, I would love to ask you about that as well. We last time had a discussion with one of our great mentors, Tutor Kumar Gopalan, and even he stressed on reading. So I truly get from where you're coming from. As they say, a good reader is always a good leader. So you should feed yourself right. Yeah. So you told me about your interest, that okay, the spark came right from the family. See, you were privileged, you had somebody who knew the language, but many of us do not come from a background where our parents know English or anyone at home speaks in English. And I'm sure that a lot of audience who's watching us right live here would agree to that. How important is it for people to surround themselves with a platform or with any environment where English is spoken widely? Does that help? Does that accelerate the whole process of learning?
Let me flip this, Shruti. I speak Hindi quite well, and when I look
Okay.
back, how did I learn Hindi in the south of India? I was studying in a school where predominantly there were Hindi speakers. Now, how did I? I'm not a good writer in Hindi, obviously. I don't read Hindi. I watch Hindi, yes, shows and movies and so on. But I just spoke, and I made mistakes initially. I'm sure people laughed at me those days, and among children when we are growing up in boarding school. But I'm actually quite confident in Hindi today. Then
Okay.
professionally, I had to use Hindi in professional life. Now the same with English. Now, if you're a you're a person not consuming English when you're growing up, your father doesn't speak it much, your mother certainly doesn't. You can speak with friends. Try to speak as English as much as possible. Don't be shy. Don't be hesitant. Don't feel that you're going to be judged all the time or ridiculed, because I must have been judged when I learned Hindi. And I think you just, at that young age, you'll probably be able to forget that aspect of it. This consciousness comes in a bit later in your life, when you start feeling you're being judged. I shouldn't be speaking if I'm not speaking perfect English. I mean, there's nothing like that. Just plunge in, speak, make mistakes, learn from mistakes, and you'll get
So
better.
Hindi is also a second language for you. So you picked up little late in your life, yeah?
My second language is obviously Malayalam, which is my mother tongue. I never spoke Malayalam till the age of, I think, 20 or something. And I think
Oh, okay.
I remember mentioning to people that it was my mother's tongue at home. It was never my mother tongue. So, yes, Hindi became my second language professionally too. And then Malayalam took third place. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So you know a lot of languages and you picked up every now and then you thought. So one thing I can gauge from this is one can pick up any language in any phase of their life, if that's true. Yeah,
Yes,
they may.
yes, yes. Have the courage, have the interest, and why not?
Everything comes from an interest. Absolutely, that's true. And when we started English Yari, the idea was simple that if you are in school, you have a lot of opportunities. You can speak on stage, you can participate in a lot of debates, competitions that happen. When you pass out of school and you enroll in a college, even then there are opportunities, but a lot of us really do not participate. And in our career, when we join the job, when we are in the phase of interview, we realize that okay, this is now a skill which is important. So idea was that okay, if anybody has not got the opportunity, we must create opportunity for adult learners, so that at English Shari at least they can speak in English and get the environment they actually need. Now, I want to know from you. You deal with so many learners, you talk to a lot of them. What is a common pattern you've noticed in them? What actually do they lack? Do they lack confidence? Do they lack right sentence structures? Because in the chat box, I heard somebody saying that, ma'am, I want to speak English, but when I try to speak, I don't get the sentences. So, what exactly problem do you see, which is a common denominator in all your learners?
Very, very common, aspects of what early learners face, and I've faced this here in the platform, was a hesitancy in speaking, uh, certain amount of stage fright, that they'll be judged. Getting
Okay.
stuck is a very common sentence I've heard. I get stuck, sir. I think they also say I'm trying to convert from Hindi to English, and it takes time for me to convert a word like accept, or convert a word, any word which comes to your mind, a decision. So they're trying to convert that from English in their mind, or Tamil, let's say, or even a Malayali guy or a Bengali, from his native language to move into English. It takes time, and that's why he gets stuck. He gets stuck, and then the sentence formation also is a struggle, because he's not able to get the vocabulary. He doesn't have the words. Yes, grammatical errors can be there, like you miss articles, you miss prepositions. It can happen because a sentence without these elements uh, causes faulty. And
True that.
many of them need to be put through foundational English, which is, many times I tell them, if the foundation is not strong, the building is going to fall. And if your foundation is strong, you can then move forward. You start with the elementary foundational English and then move into vocabulary, which can be a little bit more in an advanced stage. Pronunciation can be an advanced stage. Using similes and what we call lexical resources can be at an advanced stage. But I'm talking about a elementary entry level, what we call A1, A2 level. And he needs to worry about his foundation. If that is done, then he builds confidence in himself, and he's able to move forward, you know, with other aspects of English.
What you're talking about is exactly a question which a learner has also asked us in the chat box. Says that, ma'am, how can I train myself to think in English instead of translating from my native language, especially during fast conversation? That's the point you just brought. Since they're translating in their head from their mother tongue, it's taking time. Once you start taking time on something, you lose your confidence or you lose your momentum. So once is you told that the basic has to be right, the foundation has to be strong. What should they do for that foundation? Let's talk about this question from all three perspectives. Somebody who's starting the journey, who is not confident in talking to people in English, a beginner. Then let's talk about intermediate and the one who's trying to achieve fluency. So, how do
Yeah,
you
or
accelerate
a
this?
refiner's language. I think the beginner will have to talk more, because beginner, if you tell him to start reading, he's going to find it impossible because he's not well
True.
versed with the language at all. So I would still say, if I listen to you know a normal guy on the road who knows a little bit of English, uh, he's struggling to speak, but he should speak. Try to speak as much as you can. Forget the reading, forget the listening. Those skills can come later. Important thing is wanting to speak. I don't mind speaking. I don't mind making those mistakes and even saying sorry. What I meant was, I trying to tell you this. I think universally we understand the basic learner, even we understand what he's saying. We are not here
True.
to correct him. He can speak what we see in Hindi, tuta puta, Hindi. My Hindi must have been tuta puta. I'm sure it was. And I must have struggled, but maybe that age I wasn't so worried. So the earlier you learn to speak, you don't have the fear of being judged or ridiculed. You might still say things which, let's say, an office boy in a corporate company, he doesn't know English, but he's trying to learn English because he needs to speak to a colleague. So, can I serve tea? I'm giving you tea, or I'm giving you a file. On what does he do? He learns to speak something, and we are trying to tell him, listen, you're actually trying to speak. Very good. Continue speaking. Continue making an attempt to speak. A blue collar worker, how does he speak? He speaks just basic English. He's able to put it through to you what he wants, and that's enough, good enough. He could get better as he continues to speak, and don't discourage him from speaking. Tell him to speak more. If you can help him, sure. As a tutor, we will, of course. But otherwise, I'm just talking about a real life situation. Let him just
I wish things could be that ideal where people would motivate each other on making mistakes. We live in a society or we live in an environment where if you commit any mistake, especially when you're trying something new, you are the one who's laughed at. You're never the
sure.
one who would be motivated, especially when it's with your friends, your colleagues. There are a lot of forces which are there to put you down, right? That's when we come in picture, where a tutor motivates that it's okay, I'm still listening to you. All they need is somebody who can hear.
No, I'm talking about a person I might know. He might be a colleague at a lower level, maybe in the warehouse, he's in the service center, in the industry I was, or an office boy, or a delivery boy. He's trying to talk. He's trying to, say something in English. Now, I don't think I ever tried to, like discourage him or put him down, because I know he's struggling to. He doesn't know my language, so what does he do? He tries
Absolutely.
to, say something. If I was in a position to help him, I would say continue speaking and read simple books. If you are keen to read at all, read very elementary fairy tales, or very simple, because writing may be difficult for him, because that's the stage he needs to reach that stage. But
True.
speaking is the first noticeable skill in English, because that's a real output. Like, how do I listen to this guy? Because I know he's struggling, but I can hear him, I can understand him. That's the only output which I'm worried about. The rest of it, the writing and the reading, is most of it is input. Listening is also input. You're trying to imbibe, learn
Imbibe
those
things out.
skills by inward looking. Outward, if you look at, it's what do you notice about a person? How he speaks. You don't know how he thinks. You don't know how he reads, and you don't know how he writes unless you have the experience of seeing it. So speaking remains the first frontier. He needs to start with that first frontier, crack that frontier at his level. When I say A1, he could be just a guy who understands basic English.
Okay,
Good
so what you're
morning.
trying to say is start speaking. A lot of learners, and that's really common, when they hear people saying that start reading, they pick up reading, then they pick up listening, writing, all at one side. Now a lot of things on your plate, as they say, so many cooks spoil the broth. So that's the major mistake. That's a pothole here. You don't have, what he's trying to say, all the learners, is that if you are a beginner or even intermediate, your first focus should be on speaking. That's when one of my favorite quotes suggests you don't have to be great to start, you have to start to be great. So start speaking first, automatically you will reach your goal or your destination. Am I right?
Yeah, yes. I
Okay.
mean, I
uh,
encourage people to speak. Now, look at English Yari. What is your primary request of a tutor or of a learner? Is speak. Come and speak here.
sure.
Many of them tell me I don't have a speaking partner. My friends don't speak. Even if I speak, they say, no, no, speak in Hindi, speak in whatever language. But here you give them a chance to speak for even 20 minutes if they want. Just speak, and we are not judging them. We're actually guiding them, holding them by the hand and telling them how
Sure.
you could be better, right?
Yes, that's true. Okay, so I didn't tell learners which department you were working in corporate sector. I asked them to drop the hints in the chat box. But no worries, I'll ask you the question. But my question is relevant to intermediate learners and beginners, especially. To all the learners who are watching is, help me out in the question. I want you to write in the chat box your current level. What do you feel you're currently at? Do you think you're a beginner who is struggling to form sentences, or you're an intermediate person who speaks fairly good, but there are instances where you struggle to express yourself clearly? At what level do you consider yourself? A beginner, intermediate, or advanced speaker? Just write this in the chat box so that I can channelize the whole session for you. It's not for us, it's actually for you. You get your answers through a tutor, Rohil. Am I right, Mr. Rohil?
Yeah, of course, of course. Put in your comments whatever you want to share, and we are here to help you.
Absolutely, that's true. So, meanwhile, they're writing. My question to you is, in corporates at EnglishYaari, we get a lot of learners who are either preparing for interviews or are in jobs but are looking for a better role or a better position to get promoted. How important communication is for them? Many times we hear people saying that get noticed at work. How do you get noticed at work? Does this have anything to do with communication, the way you speak, the way you interact?
No, absolutely. I mean, I come from an old school, Shruti, where work was supposed to speak for myself. I had this experience with a trainer who told me, uh, how do you promote yourself? And this was the later stage of my career. And I said, I never promoted myself. He said, the times have changed. Okay, so I'll put that aside. Promoting yourself at work. How do you do that? You need to speak up. You need to be able to share your thoughts, your suggestions and ideas all the time in meetings. There are a lot of people who tell me, I want to speak, sir, but I'm scared to speak. I'm hesitant to speak. I don't want to speak up because I might sound stupid. Or maybe the earlier guy said exactly what I wanted to say. I don't have anything new to say. So you will have something to say if you're working in an organization. Put up your hand and say, I want to, can I, say something? I have an idea. I have a thought. Or I have a different take. Can I, express this to you? You'll get your chance in a meeting. I mean, many of our learners here say we are in stand-up meetings, review meetings, monthly meetings, appraisals. Speak up, because if you're already in an organization, you're reasonably, aware of what's going on in the company, what your role is, and what you should be saying. But by keeping quiet, nobody's going to ask you. That's how competitive it is
True.
today. The people playing games, there's politics in the office, you know how it is. And you have to, speak up for yourself. And increasingly today, maybe not so much in the days I started, but today with competition, with congestion, chatter, how do you stand up? And then you need to have the skill to present yourself even better, which requires preparation, requires an interest to make sure that you just don't do your work, but you got to make others realize you're doing that work. And
True.
unfortunately, that is true. That is true. You know.
Yeah, you
So
need to have your voice if you want people to look at you, to value you, respect your opinion. You have to share your opinion. How would the world know what you're thinking, what's cooking up here in your brain? So you have to express exactly what you feel. That's really right. That's really right. I see a lot of learners writing. Okay, Hazif Hafizur Ghazi says, "Ma'am, I feel like I'm an intermediate." All right. Then we get learners. Okay, a lot of them says they are into intermediates. That's what they feel. Okay. Now, the reason I ask them at what level do they feel is because a lot of people talk, how do you start a journey? As we discussed in the initial part of this live session as well, that if you are a beginner, get as many opportunity to speak. You have to build that first. Get few sentences with yourself, some phrases to begin your conversation with. But then comes a time in your journey you feel stuck, and I think we all face this at some point of time when I realize, okay, this is a stagnant position. I'm not growing at all. My conversation skills are stuck. So what do you do when you feel you know English, but you're still facing issues in expression? So, what to do with that? Do you get such learners at English Yaari
yeah, yeah,
in your
yeah. I
sessions?
do. There are, I would say, they are a beginning intermediate. They're not
Okay,
advanced intermediate because there are two levels there also. Um, Many of them, then, okay, when you move into an intermediate level, you'll have to start building your reserve, as it were, by reading, start to read. Then you know how to read, you know what sort of books you might understand. And I always encourage people to read what they like. Never read something because somebody forced it down your throat. I mean, I can tell
true.
you, you could read Ayn Rand. It might be too much for you. Okay, I'll tell you. Still read good, simple writers. I've actually suggested names like Chetan Bhagat or Sudha Murthy, Indian authors. Even go a little further down and go into simpler books which you can uh, read day to day conversations, day to day interpersonal communication, even
Hmm.
related to office. You have simple books, very simple books, like your 1 minute manager kind of books in a different context. But read something which is very simple and build confidence within yourself that you're able to put together sentences, simple sentences. Don't ramble. Many of them talk and lose their way somewhere during even class. And I tell them, why don't you just say, I'm going to the office. I reach office at 8 a.m. I start my work at 8:15. I go for a tea break at 11. I continue working till 12:30. I take a lunch break. I mean, simple. Can you explain your day in about 10 sentences? Don't ramble on about things and somewhere they lose their way. You know, I'm not even telling them
True.
to use vocabulary, just simple day to day sentences to
Sentences.
begin with. Yes. And
Yes.
then if you're moving from the B1, what we say B1, which is uh, the intermediate, to
Intermediate
begin with,
learners. Yeah.
go up to a upper level. You'll have to start using better words, better phrases, maybe idioms and similes, and that's the journey. It takes a long time. I mean, if somebody asks me how long does it take me to move from lower intermediate to upper intermediate, it might take 6 months. And it depends on how often are you speaking, how often are you surrounding yourself with English, because then other than
Yes.
reading, you'll also start listening. Maybe not so much
True.
writing, but listen to podcasts, listen to TEDx, listen to YouTube. I mean, thousands of videos on YouTube. We never had that.
True.
You can make English your friend and not your enemy, as someone told me. Don't run away from it, run towards it, you know.
Yeah.
And then you gain confidence slowly. I've seen incredible success stories in English when, with people who started with a vernacular language and actually started speaking English very well, confidently.
That's true.
It's possible. There's no magic formula here. It's diligence,
Absolutely.
consistency. Okay, another thing I'll tell you. One of the things I told one of my learners was, don't try to cram over a weekend. That's not how you learn English. You learn every day, 15 minutes a day. Read a chapter, Stand in front of the mirror and talk. If you want to listen to yourself, record it. Today you have a phone. Do it small baby steps every day, 10 minutes, 15 minutes if you have time. Alternate day, fine. Don't try to cram it on a Sunday. It doesn't work that way. This is not an exam, you know. It's a
Sure.
learning process. Yeah.
Yes. After talking to so many learners, even in my journey, what I realized is the importance of feedback. As we were talking about the time when you're stuck, when you don't see growth, you are actually investing same efforts you've been trying, but still you don't see considerable change in your speech. That's when the importance of a tutor or a mentor comes into the picture. We continue to speak the way we are speaking, but when you get somebody who tells you, hey, this is what you're going wrong with, you get some attention, and then you go on a right path. If I could explain that with simple terms, if I don't know how to bake a cake and I'm trying for the first time, but you are a specialist, you are a baker, you know it, how do we do it? Making this whole process. I'm preparing a dough, or completing the batter. You have an eye on me. If I'll skip any process, if I'll skip any step, you'll be there to tell me,
Point
Shruti,
out.
you missed this. Yeah, you would be there to tell me. And that's exactly a lot of people miss when they are learning. They need somebody who tell them what's wrong, what's missing. Yeah, I see a lot of people that sound with grammar, they sound with their pronunciation. Even when they speak, it's fine. However, I don't feel the connection. When they're speaking, they sound like they're speaking, but they don't mean it when they're speaking. They're speaking the language, they're sharing their thought, but it doesn't feel that it's their opinion or they firmly believe what they're saying. They don't go by their words. And that's when I tell them, see, language is about emotion. You should be able to connect with a person emotionally. How about I say, okay, tell me, Rohil sir, what works if I want to improve English? If I'm not creative or I'm not eager to learn, why would you share your journey? Isn't it? So the
Yeah,
connection has
absolutely.
to be both ways. And that's what I said in language learning journey. If you are an intermediate, since I hear a lot of learners saying intermediate, intermediate, try getting a tutor with you. You can try a lot of tutors like Tutor Rohil Menon as well, where somebody tells you if there are fillers in your language, what kind of filler words do you use? If there's any grammatical error, what error it is. Because in grammar, there's so many things, whether it's preposition, it's tenses, what exactly you go wrong with. If it's pronunciation, it's voice modulation. A lot of us are blessed with great thought and a great throat, I would say as well. Yet people don't do it. I see them sounding robotic or monotone. Have you encountered such people in your corporate career where they speak but there's no modulation? There's no
Yeah,
voice, I would say, magic.
yeah, I agree. I agree with you. You know, everybody is not a trained public speaker or a
True.
person who wants to stand in front of 100 people and talk. Because I always felt that public speaking is something where you need to want to speak. Can I speak in a friend's wedding? Can I speak at a friend's birthday? Can I speak at my alumni event? Can I speak in a company event? Do I want to speak? I mean, I'm putting my hands up and saying, listen, give me a chance to speak this year. How many people do that? Not many, right? We
Not
want to
many.
be in the shade. We want to be in the background saying, hey, don't bother me. Even in a casual event like a friend's birthday, I want to say a few nice things about the person, right? Him or her. Now, it's a little bit of a limelight thing, but you need to be wanting to do it, you know and you're an MC at a club or an MC at a show in your community. Take it up if you can. For that, of course, you need the confidence, and you don't need the stage fright to come with it. You need to be a confident person to do it. But coming back to the intermediate thing is, don't treat English as a language alone, as a language of communication alone. I see a lot of people saying that. It's gone beyond that a little bit, and today is seen as a real skill. Because if there are two people almost alike in terms of hard skills, engineer, or IT professional, or a lawyer, or whatever it may be, how do you differentiate the two when it comes to an assignment or a job? You take the guy who presents himself better. And what is presenting himself better? Speaking. Because that's the only thing you see. He might be a great thinker, but if he doesn't speak, how do you know he's a great thinker? How do you know he
Yeah.
writes very well? Because that's in the shadow. Now,
You have to show.
obviously, the guy, you have to show. And in an interview of 10, 15 minutes, it's very difficult for you to, I mean, judge a person so accurately unless he's able to speak well and to say, okay, this guy speaks better than the other guy, and I'm going to take him. Qualification wise, ditto. Experience wise, more or less the same. So how do you differentiate? So I'm telling people, listen, don't treat English that it's a punishment to learn it. It's a language, I need to learn it somehow. It's what you're going to be in the future. It can transform you as a personality without a doubt, without a doubt. And it's going to help you in your career, your growth, the trajectory of how you go.
Absolutely. I can't agree more because this language has given so much to me. I'm not talking about people who I meet in sessions or the learners who know me, the kind of love they show. I'm talking about the life beyond internet. Whenever I'm in a party or I'm in any meeting, I feel that I hold a special space where I can share my ideas freely. And thanks to the confidence I got after learning this language, I'm still a learner, of course, but definitely you have to show up. Without showing up, as you said, nobody's gonna know what you have in your mind. You can be a great one, but if you don't show, if I know how to cook, but I tell people, oh, I know how to cook, if I'll not tell them or I'll not bring something for them to eat, how would they know my true skill? So you
Absolutely.
have to
Uh,
vocalize. You have
can
to
I take a
vocalize.
couple of questions which is put here?
Please.
Says, my understanding of English is very good. I can talk to myself in my mind, but when I try to speak face to face with friends, I'm unable to speak. Now,
Yeah.
here you're talking about a real life experience you may be having. Now, if you can speak to yourself, as you said, you can speak to yourself well. Why don't you try speaking to yourself in front of a mirror? You imagine it's somebody else standing there, not judging you, of course, because you're not judging you. So keep speaking if you can. If you sound good, if you feel you're confident, keep speaking every day in your room, in your private space. You have to take the plunge when you talk to friends. The reason why you are uncomfortable maybe is because you feel you'll be judged. They might ridicule you or laugh at you or correct you or say, what are you speaking? Don't worry, it's your journey. Identify yourself there, it's your journey. Go
True.
ahead doing it, because at some point you'll get better. The private practice I'm talking about is only if you feel that you need to speak so that you're used to speaking, uh, but alone, without anyone there to judge you. I didn't have that experience, to be very honest, because I didn't have to. But I think if you are shy of speaking with your friends, you will find it very difficult to speak in a formal setting, because there the demands are a lot more than with friends. With friends, it's okay. I mean, you
Yeah,
can still make
this
a mistake
reminds
and
me
say,
of a story of a learner. I had a learner named Abhijit, and I'm talking about 2021 year 2021. So Abhijit was really a skilled person, means he was working as a data analyst in top MNC. Every time he would come to me, he would come with a lot of fear, as if we are going to judge him on the platform. So I told him that you don't have to feel anything here, because whatsoever you speak, you are not fluent. That's why you've come to us. So now it's our responsibility. So initial few sessions he had this hesitation with me, but after taking 10 sessions he started feeling comfortable. And that's when I told him that, see, you're not going to meet one person in your life, right? You're going to meet so many people, so don't get comfortable with me. Now I want you to try multiple tutors on the platform. Because you're not getting that environment. As he was working in MNC, he cannot try speaking with friends or colleagues directly, so he wanted, so like, okay, let's practice it before your final stage performance, which is with your colleagues, your boss, your manager. So let's do that in sessions now. And now he is able to speak well, he's able to present well. And I feel so much confident that, okay, he was once my learner who didn't have the courage to speak, and look at him now. On LinkedIn as well, he many times shares his post. So though I'm not connected with him, but when I see him performing, when I see him speaking, it fills me with immense pleasure that it's okay if you don't have the environment. If you have the courage, how strong your why is can lead you to success, right?
yes, yes, yes. You know why I'm saying this, Shruti, is that a lot of people may not find the why. You know, yes, you must have your why, because why should I speak English better? It's going to not just with friends. It's going to be my career. It's going to be how I rise in my in my life. I would like to speak much better and get promotional chances, maybe get better options in the company, and that is what is going to change your life. And you will realize that English is so much a part of that success you will get. What else will you improve on? Your work, sure. Your hard skills, yes.
Yes.
But soft skills, which communication is part of it, is going to make a big difference. And I have an
Interesting.
experience of dealing with that in sales, where, because I think you use the word gift or the gab. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
sort of a word which you use for somebody who talks too much, maybe, but also gift to talk. And if you can talk well, a salesman usually needs to speak a bit, not chatter away, but he needs to speak. And in my career, I found that because I could speak well, I could also convince, I could reassure, not confuse, reassure the customer, reassure a business partner, where he looks at me and probably thinks this guy is making sense, you know, and
Yes.
his trust in me goes up. His dependence is there. He feels, oh, I can depend on this particular guy or manager or whatever I was. And I think I passed on that confidence to him, to invest, because he's putting in the money. I'm only talking as a salesperson. So I saw this in my career right through, where I could convince people and reassure them of services or product or whatever it may be. Yeah. Yeah. Next question. Learning lighthouse. Okay. Avoiding grammatical mistakes is necessary in a formal interview. Yes, I mean, I think if you're going for a job and if you're making regular grammatical errors in your sentences, like missing out prepositions or a article or a conjunction, they may not look at it from a grammatical point of view, but they will realize you don't speak particularly good English.
Particularly good, and especially when you're grown up, they have certain expectation that you will be able to speak at least. I remember once I was listening to somebody, and she said, "I'm PhD in English." So now I'm PhD in English, or I'm a PhD in English, just a slight article, but it definitely changes the whole meaning. You are not PhD. I'm Shruti. I'm not PhD English. My name is Shruti. So I can say I'm a. So yes, when you are grown up, when you are sitting for interviews, people do have expectation that you will speak fairly well. If not, as Mr. Rohil said, not about grammar, it's not about vocabulary, at least about basic sense of speaking should be there with everyone, right?
Yeah, I
One should
mean,
have that.
yeah, I mean, I think everybody has to drive himself or herself to, be proficient in the language, because I think I mentioned this to you, that I found that English is such a significant part of everyone's career today, and increasingly so. Whether we agree or not, whether we agree or not, I found corporates coming to me, and I'm surprised that not only in India but also outside India, they want to speak well. They want to speak fluently. They want to speak perfectly, as they say. And I only tell them, don't use the word perfect, but speak well. You know. And I'm
True.
really surprised how many of them in the mid stage of their careers have realized that they can't grow because they've been told that your communication is poor. The eye
Yeah,
opener.
that's absolutely an eye opener. And secondly, your confidence shatters when somebody say that you should work on this skill. For example, if I'm in office and somebody tells me that because your communication is not good, you should work on your communication in order to be a better leader. That's a space where I may not find myself to be in. I would never like to be in that place, at least, because communication is a necessity. You should be able to speak or verbalize your thoughts. That's mandatory, absolutely. One of the learners has asked one interesting question. Let's see what you feel about that. So the learner is Sherdil says, how to get comfortable in English communication, as we were talking that it's a necessary skill Fear of judgment or lack of vocab is taking me behind. How to think in English faster. So he's clubbed all these things. I can understand English, but bad at communication. So let's break it down. His first question is how to get comfortable with communication.
Can I have his name?
Shadil is the name of
Shadil.
the person.
Yeah, Shadil. Yeah, it's communication is not just speaking. So, if I want to expand a little bit on communication, I would say communication can be carried out by speaking, by listening, by reading, and by writing. Now, how do you get comfortable? It's the same thing. I mean, you need to be having some kind of a program within you on a daily basis where you need to get friendly with English. Now, if I'm going to run away from the language, I'm never going to, or any skill for that matter, I'm not going to get any better at it. Even as cycling, I need to start cycling. I need to start swimming. I need to start playing a sport. If I'm scared of playing it, then I'm not going to learn it anyway. So same with English in a slightly different context. You have to go towards the language. Can you read a
Yes.
little? Can you speak a little more? Maybe listen also. And maybe, yeah, if you have an interest to maintain a diary or a journal or a little something, you can write also. I know one of my learners who said, I noticed she had improved noticeably over the last months I was with her. And I asked her, what really is the secret of that? And she said, one was writing a journal. Many people don't do it, but she was doing it. Two, she said, I was speaking to myself in front of a mirror. I was recording myself. If I didn't like it, I just deleted it and I recorded again. You know, and you're your best critic. You could be your best fan or two, both. Don't be too much of a fan all the time. You could be a critic and say, I want to do this better. I want to nail this. I want to say these sentences better than I'm used to. Put yourself in role plays. I'm here in front of my friends.
Yeah,
I'm here in
that's what
front of
we do in English Yaari sessions. The tutors put you in role play, storytelling, and a lot more, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. And you have to get close to the language. Are you comfortable with that? Are you not comfortable? You're trying to shy away, procrastinate. Should I do? Should I not do? No. English is going to make a difference in your life. It's going to change your life in many, many ways. And it has nothing to do with what you've studied. It's about you communicating. And I would still say do all the four if you can. Spend a little time doing all of it. It may sound a mountain to climb, but it's not.
Absolutely.
It's not.
Yeah.
Take small baby steps. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, but use English every day if you can. Really, every day. One or the other skill, which I was telling you about, and you will get better. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
long journey. Yes, I think somebody asked me, can I speak like you? How long would it take? And I said 30 years. So, no, I was joking. But the fact is, it does take time. So, spend your time, invest your energy into this, and it's going to make a difference without a doubt.
Yeah, that's what people say, that if you want to learn anything, surround yourself with that. For example, I want to learn how to be a great singer, so I must train myself, or I should be with people who sing fairly well, right? As they say, you're the average of top 5 people you spend the most of your time with. Right. One of the learners, I think, if I'm not missing out his names, Learning Lighthouse has asked a question: how can I train my mind to think in English under pressure without translating? That's exactly what you were saying. Is you have to face it. You cannot run in order to be fluent. And as you asked, Learning Lighthouse, how to speak better under pressure, put yourself under pressure. Put yourself in a space where you have to speak. Imagine I enroll myself and I take a session with expert. Firstly, I'll be under pressure. I'm talking to somebody who's on pedestal. I will be talking to someone who will be judging me. Although tutors at EnglishYaari do not judge you at all, but I will try to give my best so that I get good compliments from him. So put yourself back to back under the circumstances. I know learning alone is challenging and we end up quitting. So it's better you stay with the tutors, they'll make you fluent. Relax. You have been listening to us for more than 50 minutes now. So, a small request, I see more than 100 learners with us, which is a great deal. Thank you so much. And especially,
Very
you're
good.
listening to people who are working on, who are telling you all about skill set, how you improve that. So, small request, like and share this video with your friends or your family members who actually needs this, because your motivation will help us bring more such content to you every weekend, every Saturday, every Sunday. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm just waiting for that particular moment to happen. Meanwhile, I'll ask one thing to you, sir. You
Yeah.
were into
Right.
sales. Now, sales
Mm.
has a lot to do with conviction, persuasion, how you make your customer to a point where he takes decision in the direction you want him to take a decision, the buying decision.
Yeah.
If I compare the similar thing to our everyday life, at every step we are trying to persuade somebody. Let's suppose I want my friends to go for a movie night. I have to tell them, please, let's go. So I'm here to convince. If I want my mom to prepare my favorite meal, I have to convince her. Or if I'm with my manager, I want appraisal. I have to tell them that, hey, based upon these parameters. So this skill, which is persuasive skill, cordial skills, are the major hurdles for a lot of people. And if you are by chance, I would say somebody who's not open to language, would it would be a difficult space for you. How do you build that trust in you that people will believe in you? How do you get that inner confidence? How do I persuade people? How do I convince people?
One, at least from the perspective I came from when I was in sales and when I was in product, I was actually selling a product. One is to
Mm-hmm.
love my product, love my brand, in other words. And that has to, sort of translate to the customer that you love your brand so much. You're so convinced about the brand. You have total conviction about the quality. And we stand by that. Sometimes in sales, less is more. Too much of hard sell doesn't work. And this, in the premium selling I was in most of the time, that works because what you talk about the brand, the attributes, the features, the benefits, whatever else you
Mm-hmm.
want to say, not price, uh, less is always more because you come with that quiet confidence that you're representing a brand which stands the test of time and people know it. Okay, it may be more difficult to sell a product which is not as strong. Sure, of course, you need to have other levers to push it, not just talking about the brand itself. But what little I could recall is hard sell doesn't work. Hard sell sounds desperate. Hard sell, people can see through you. So if you can lay out these attributes well, the characteristics of the brand, the legacy, what it stands for, normally that is enough to convince the customer who's discerning, a customer who's
So it's
aware of
about
what they need.
clarity. How do I bring things clearly on table for someone for decision making? Is that right?
Yes. Because if you're able to put that out there with him and say, these he
Mm-hmm.
probably has an experience with the brand too. Even if he doesn't have an experience, why did he come to you in the first place? Because he probably wants to try it out. Probably somebody has talked about it. But at the same time, you need to be able to give total clarity on what is his experience going to be with the brand, or what is his experience been with the brand. He might have some areas of concern. That's up to you to what we say, problem solving or objection handling, where you're able to pinpoint areas of objections he may have. You've got to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Preparedness is, of course, there for a
True.
salesperson. But uh, I personally always felt uh, it's less is more in most of these cases.
Yeah, that's true. You should have the clarity why you're doing it, what's the decision. And let me share a quick secret with you. Many times we talk to our learners. Of course, we don't tell who we are. We tell them, okay, we are talking to you from Team English Yaari. In order to know their perspective, we call them to ask how's their journey going. Right? If your customers are happy, you are building something right. So when we get
Yep.
a positive response from learners, that boosts the confidence. And as they say, you cannot get confidence from outside. You have to build the confidence. So do things up, and you'll build confidence. Many times, I remember in my childhood, I had this about myself. Sometimes there are wrong narratives set. Right? I thought, oh, I'm lean. I'm not that beautiful. I'm not that gorgeous. So I kept that in me. Every time if somebody would compliment me, I would feel that they're not there to compliment, they're actually trying to put me down, or they're making fun of me. But then some people, I would say some good people, told me that, hey, it's not always about outer beauty, it's about inner beauty, and you're beautiful. So when I started getting those positive things, I somehow felt better about myself. Right. So I think the same happens in the sessions when learners come to you. They want to know good things about themselves. When you compliment their speech, they're filled with motivation, and the motivation drives them towards success,
Yeah, absolutely,
isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah,
We all
feedback.
do.
We have a method which is called sandwich method. It's popularly used, right? So when you're giving a feedback, first start with praise, then gives suggestions where they could have worked better, could have. It's not criticism at all. And then finally, review the whole, his session, and tell him that you've improved so much from what you were last session, or last week, to what it is now. He needs to go back with the feeling that he is, improved. He's moving forward. you know you
Yes.
don't have to give him false hopes or false feedback, but at the same time, he's a learner. I mean, you might be a so-called expert. I personally don't use that word too much, because I'm also a learner in some way. I'm still learning
True.
new
A tutor is
words.
always a learner. Yeah, that's
Learner,
true. That's
you got to
true.
reflect all the time, right? But give
Uh-huh.
him this feeling that he's going home with that sandwich, and he's done something great, and he's going to do better, you know and that
Yes.
works most of the time.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing so many insights today with all our learners. We have marked 1 hour completely. We've been talking for an hour,
So
and you've
fast.
been sharing. Firstly, kudos to all the learners who have glued themselves to us. See, when you are on YouTube or whenever you are on any social media, there are so many things to go through. You can always swipe and go towards any other video which is majorly entertainment or anything else. But you all stick to a place where it's no nonsense, it's just logic. That shows you are really willing to improve your communication. So clap for all of you. You really want to improve, and you listen to us carefully. You didn't just listen to us, you also were there to ask questions. A lot of questions we got in the session, isn't it? I know I
Yeah.
missed a few, but we tried carrying a lot of questions in the session today, so thanks. And just believe in one thing. If I could summarize the whole session, what we got from tutor Rohil, because there are very few instances we meet some tutors like him. So firstly, speak. Wherever you get the opportunities, speak up. You have to create the opportunities. Small instances, it could be at your workplace, with your colleagues, your manager, or with your friends, anywhere, just speak. Few sentences, few phrases if you are a beginner. If you are an intermediate, you have to evaluate at what level you are. What are the areas which are going wrong? Some of the activities you can try alone is recording yourself or speaking yourself in front of the mirror, but make sure you are looking at the progress as well. Where are you heading? Where did you start? Where are you currently? And all the four parameters of language is important. If you're doing just one, it would not help you. Input is fine, but output is what we expect. So reading, writing, listening, it's all good, but without the fourth pillar, which is speaking, nothing is going to work in your favor. Am I right? Did I miss anything, tutor Rohil? I tried to
No,
comprehend what
no,
we discussed.
no, no, no. Beautifully summed up. I could not have done it better. You're the expert.
Oh. No, I think we always are modest enough to compliment each other. I especially thank you for taking out
My
time on this day to ignite the spark of curiosity in our learners, because I feel every now and then when we talk to tutors, they have similar things to say. We had a conversation with tutor Renu Dayal, then tutor Madhav, Nand Kumar sir, and now with you, fourth session. what I can make out from all the sessions is you must take the opportunity. If you're just waiting that someday somebody would come in your life and tell you or teach you, that's not going to happen. You have to make the right move. So, all of you can make your right move. Right after the session, you can book your trial session if you want to experience what we do at English Yaari. Because I think somebody asked that, how do you teach and what is special about English Yaari? So I think I would not like to say that. I want you to experiment that. So I invite you to have a live session, one-on-one session with expert tutors here. Talk to them, and you'll yourself realize why we have so many success stories to share, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. One last word I would like to say to
Please.
learners is there's a simple line in English learning which says, "Think fast, speak slowly." It means a bit because many people can't think fast because that's where they get stuck. They speak too fast, they tumble over words. So think fast, speak slowly. But for that, you need to look at all those skills which we were talking about. And then you'll be able to think faster and speak slowly because you have a lot more confidence speaking, right? Just a
Yes.
simple advice. Yeah.
No, that has a lot to say. I would say, all of you, yes, given your word of wisdom and wisery, not just about language, but also about life. So try to contemplate on this thought, and probably with that, we'll meet you on probably next Sunday, sharp at 7 p.m. If you have any doubts, any queries, feel free to post it here. We personally look into every comment that you put. And I also thank you for not only joining, but sharing your love. All the 3 episodes we have had, we've received so much appreciation from your end. So thank you so much, means a lot. And yes, on this note, we say goodbye to all of you. And till then, keep practicing and keep speaking. Right? Thank you so much, Rohil sir.
Thank you. Thank you.